Hello everyone and welcome to our new video on business setup in DIFC. I have received a lot of inquiries from a lot of my clients insisting about making a video on how to do a business setup in DIFC. As DIFC business setup is known for a very complex and lengthy process, most of the investors require a typical consultation on DIFC setup. The DIFC setup is only possible by someone who's very experienced in setting up banking and finance or any other investment consultant company in UAE. So our clients are very well aware about us and my team as well that we are very much experienced to set up companies in DIFC. Over the period of years, we have set up hundreds of DIFC company. As my clients are well aware about my background and our team experience as well. Over the years, we have set up quite a few DIFC company in different backgrounds, whether it's investment consulting, whether it's crypto companies and many more. But before we touch upon base on how to set up a DIFC company, we should really understand that when should we form a DIFC company, when it is actually required to form a DIFC company. DIFC, as the name suggests, it's mainly for financial companies. Although you can form some of the services company, retail companies, but mainly DIFC is specialized in financial companies only. I've seen a lot of clients getting confused just trying to form a simple company and landing up forming in a DIFC because of the wrong consultation being provided by some of the consultants in UAE. So I'm going to clearly indicate when we should form a DIFC company. So if your business activity is something, a normal services company, a basic professional company or a trading company, a retail outlet, I highly suggest not to form a DIFC company as it's very expensive and a very lengthy process as well. So now I will outline 3 typical reasons when you should think about when you want to set up a DIFC company. The first is brand or reputation. So if you're a company in which you really take seriously about your brand and reputation and your customers also make sure that you're a DIFC regulated company, then is the first thing when you should consider to open a DIFC company. The second reason is third-party contracts or third-party companies mandating for you to open a DIFC company. So we have seen some scenarios in which some of the world's renowned banks, free zones and some third-party companies will not work with you if you are not regulated by DIFC. So in that case, without any doubts, we have to form a DIFC company. The third one is when you're trying to form a very complex structure which requires many policies, process and supporting laws to support the overall setup of your company, then DIFC is also the ideal solution as DIFC has all the required laws, processes and its own court to support you with your company formation. Also, it's important to note here, even after the company formations, the investors, the vendors and the company shareholders are supported by the laws and the court of DIFC. One more important point to note here is that sometimes the investors or the startups coming to us are relatively very small to start up their business in DIFC. In that case also we recommend to start with a mainland or any other free zone company. When you have such a big portfolio and a big level of employees supporting with a good level of revenue, then we can go to DIFC again to form a new company, because as we all know, DIFC is relatively much expensive over the mainland or the other free zones. So this was all about when and why we should form a DIFC companies. Now we will go directly into what is DIFC. DIFC is one of the top financial centers across the world and especially in UAE. DIFC provides secure and efficient platform for all the businesses in UAE to reach out to the emerging markets from the center, which is Dubai. The quality and independence of DFSA as a regulator provides a very good platform for all the new companies coming into this region and expand in the overall MENA region as well. DIFC also fills the time gap between the different financial centers of the world, be it Hong Kong, London, New York. DIFC is home to the largest financial ecosystem in the region with more than 30,000 professionals working in this space and over 5,000 companies registered in DIFC. This makes DIFC the largest and diversified portfolio of companies in the region. The DIFC authority regulates all the companies inside the DIFC free zone. It is a facilitator between the registrar of the companies of DIFC and the customers. The DIFC court handles all the civil disputes inside the free zone. These courts work on English law and work independently from the normal law or the court of UAE, which gives confidence to all the customers, all the investors to be on international standards in terms of all the laws. Also, there is a DIFC arbitration center as well, which takes care of all the disputes related to arbitration. The Dubai Financial Services Authority or DFSA is regulating all the firms inside the free zone. Then what is the role of DFSA? The role of DFSA is not just up to regulations only. The DFSA is responsible for creating the policies related to AML and CTF as well, anti-money laundering and counter-terrorism activities. DFSA also performs duties like policy making, regulating, authorization, supervision, enforcement, international cooperation. To summarize, the DFSA has the power to enforce and regulate all the counterparties, all the parties directly involved inside the DIFC premises. Also, DFSA is responsible to detect and report any AML activities to the central bank as well. DFSA works closely with the Central Bank of UAE related to all the anti-money laundering activities as well. There are two things in DIFC in relation to the companies being opened. First is authorized firm and authorized individuals. So what is authorized firm first? An authorized firm is an entity which has the permission from DIFC to conduct and operate as a financial services company in the free zone. What is an authorized individual? There are individuals who carry out activities like compliance officer, wealth manager, investment fund manager. These individuals carry out their activities through their authorized firms inside the free zone. DIFC has certain criteria for these kind of individuals to be considered as authorized individuals inside the firm as well. Now coming to the most important part of the video, which you should never miss out and listen to it bit by bit, point by point in detail. There are different license categories under DIFC which allows you to conduct your business activity. Your business activity defines which category you fall under and you have to apply for the same license under the DIFC free zone. The category 1 license under DIFC is a bank license. The second category license is market mover or provider of credit. Category 3 has sub bifurcations A, B, C, D under it as well. The first 3A category is for the brokerage license. Category 3B is for custodians and employee money purchase schemes. Category 3C is for asset managers and fund managers. Category 3D is for money service businesses. Category 4 licenses advising and arranging activities, which is solely on non-discretion basis. The Category 5 license is Islamic business license. So these are all the different financial category license available under DIFC. Now we will be covering all these category licenses one by one in detail so that we can understand the business setup in DIFC in a much better way. So the category 1 license, what does it require, what is the process and how much time it will take for us to get a DIFC category 1 license. The first and most important thing for a category 1 license is the base capital. The base capital in this consideration is above $10 million. This activity allows to accept deposits and also allows to manage an unrestricted profit sharing account with the customers. What are the required appointments under this license? This license requires to have diversified portfolio of board of directors. It requires to hire a senior executive officer. It requires to hire a finance officer. It requires a chief risk financial officer. It requires a compliance manager. It requires an AML officer and an internal auditor as well. All these posts are required to produce with an extensive level of experience, certifications as per the DIFC policy. The category 2 license is market mover or provider of credit. In this case, the base capital requirement is much lower than a bank, which is $2 million. Activities allowed under this license is provider of credit, dealing in investments on principal basis. Category 2, not being a bank, still is considered a very high risk activity, so it requires a huge level of appointments as well. In category 2 license, just like category 1, the board of directors should have a diversified portfolio. The board of directors are required to have a non-executive director as well. There is a requirement of senior executive officer, finance officer, chief risk officer, internal auditor, compliance officer, and AML officers as well. Again, just like a category 1 license, all these positions are required to produce extensive level of experience and certifications as per the law of DIFC. Now coming to category 3 license, which is the most popular category because it gives you 4 different bifurcations to get your license from DIFC. So the first under category 3 licensing is 3A, which is a brokerage license. This license covers all the activities which are required to act as an agent for the investments of your customers. The DFSA considers brokerage as a high risk activity as well. So the staffing requirements are more or less similar to category 1 and 2 license. DIFC also mandates to provide an extensive and a comprehensive business plan of the brokerage firm, all the rules governing the brokerage and the trading principles. The staffing requirements under the brokerage license are more or less like a category 1 or 2 license, which now category 3B license, which is a custodian or employee money purchase schemes. Category 3B license requires a minimum of $4 million of base capital. The staffing requirements are again same as category 1 or 2. This type of license is not much known in the DIFC free zone. Now category 3C license. This is one of the most known categories and most chosen categories in the DIFC free zone. The 3C license is for asset management, fund management. The base capital under this 3C license depends upon what kind of fund is being made by the company. Is it an exempt fund, a qualified fund, or a VC fund? The activities covered under this license is managing of assets, managing of a collective investment fund, providing custody, providing trust services, providing custody to other than investment funds, and providing money services. The requirement of appointments and staffing under this license will completely depend upon the type of fund the company is trying to form, but more or less the appointments are similar like a category 3A or 3B license. The base capital in VC fund is 0. Most of the companies under DIFC have taken 3C license and are operating as asset managers or investment fund. These companies are not just allowed to create investment fund or manage assets, but they are into advisory, they are into consultancy as well. These companies have formed a good base in DIFC, providing complete wealth management services to their clients by tying up with some of the foreign banks, some of the foreign exchanges, and some of the foreign wealth management companies as well. This type of license is very popular amongst the UAE bankers as well. Most of the private bankers and priority bankers from different banks, after gaining a experience, are opening these kind of license in UAE and are providing very good wealth management services. The last license category under category 3 is 3D, which is money service business. We should not get confused between 3C and 3D license. 3D is about providing money services without issuing stored value. So with 3D license, you cannot act as an asset manager or an investment fund. You are just a money service business. The base capital under this category is $200,000 US. Now the category 4 license, which is the most known category as well after 3C license, because it allows you an easy entry to DIFC. This activity allows advising on investments and arrangement as well. This means that you can provide advisory and consultancy on investments to your customers, but you are not allowed to keep their funds and manage their funds as an asset manager. The category 4 license also allows money arrangement activities, which is falling under crowdfunding platforms. So if you are planning to make a crowdfunding platform in UAE, category 4 license is the ideal under DIFC for you. However, the base capital for a crowdfunding platform is different than an advising and consulting license, which is 140,000 US dollars. And the base capital for advising and consulting would be $10,000. As the category 4 license comes under low risk compared to the other categories of DIFC, there will be some leniency in terms of staffing, like you won't be required to have a compliance officer, a AML officer. All these positions can be outsourced. As mentioned before, this category is the most ideal category for all the business who are trying to start up their footprints in the DIFC and in the MENA region. This provides an easy entry in the DIFC free zone. After setting up their base and moving on with the revenues, the companies can anytime switch to category 3C or 3A licenses depending upon the requirements. That will be more suitable for the companies because they're already inside the premises and the KYC, all the policies and the laws are well known to them. So this will not require much time for them to move from a category 4 license to a 3C or a 3B license. The last financial category under the DIFC free zone is category 5 license, which is for Islamic businesses. The base capital under this category is USD 10 million. Now, as we have covered all the categories, I hope you were able to understand the differentiation between different category license. Now we will also cover some of the frequently asked questions related to financial license of free zone. The most common question asked by DIFC firms is, are these firms allowed to promote and service customers outside the premises of DIFC? As per the law, yes, it's allowed. Any DIFC company, depending upon the license category, can promote, service and work outside the premises of DIFC free zone. The DIFC framework allows cross-border activities, 100% ownership of business, 100% ownership and employment of foreign employees as well. And there is no restriction on sending the profits back to the home country or to the parent company. The most important benefit, of course, which comes from the tax part of the company formation, DIFC allows zero tax on profits, zero tax on assets, zero tax on capital requirements, and for the best of your employees, zero tax on personal income as well. Competing with the best and well-known financial centers of the world, DIFC is one of the top financial centers in the world, competing with Hong Kong, Singapore, London, New York. So if you are planning to set up your company in the MENA region, you cannot skip DIFC. It is the financial center of the MENA region and soon it will be for the world. DIFC has its own investment clubs, own incubation centers to support new startups. DIFC has also come up recently with few initiatives to support the fintech firms in the region as well. The fintech space in UAE is buzzing all across the MENA region. Some of the biggest startups in the tech, fintech, crowdfunding platforms have chosen DIFC as their headquarters. Through DIFC, the companies are easily able to operate under the GCC region and bring upon the revenues and the customers across the board. So start your company in DIFC with the option of so many licensing categories and a great support from the government and DIFC itself.